Okay, it took a lot of work, but this time we finally got rid of them. No more straight people.
Thank God. Queers only for Pride Month.
Hey guys!
Hi, Emma.
Come on.
Hey, I read yaoi too.
Just canceled. Everyone go home.
Team Codered.
Welcome back to Team Codered On Air.
Welcome.
The podcast where we talk about everything and anything. And if you couldn't guess, this is our annual Pride special because we did it last year. So we're doing it again this year. And if you are watching on YouTube, then you can see that we have a very fun rainbow colored background. We had a Weezer one before, but that's because we were celebrating Incel Month last month. So we just hadn't changed it up yet. So as usual, I am the proud mama mixed code red leaf, and today I'm joined with the lovely Incarone, Goldem, Tangerin, and Spooky Bro. Yeah, gay rights.
Yes, queen.
Wrong.
Let's get a shout out to Bertram real quick. I forgot his actual name, so that's on me.
Oh, it's
Feel like his last name's Chamberlain. Kevin Chamberlain.
Kevin Chamberlain, yeah.
So yeah, obviously today we're going to be talking about all things Pride, just like we did last year, because we deserve a little recognition here and there. Because most of us, except for Emma, are loud and proud, and we want to embrace that for a little bit. So once again, my name is Leaf. We're just going to introduce ourselves. We'll tell you about ourselves, what labels and stuff we use that we're comfortable sharing, of course. So again, for the final time, thank God, my name is Leaf. I use she, her pronouns, they, them pronouns, and also ze pronouns if you want to be really fun and spicy. I am bisexual. Actually, don't ask me about my gender. I'm not totally sure yet. I don't think I was sure last year either. But, you know, we're getting there. we're getting there. I'm somewhere on the spectrum of between non-binary and lady. So we're something there. I'm also polyamorous, but that's a fun whole story that we can talk about later. And I am also the best.
True.
Oh, stop you.
Debatable.
Yeah, that. Now, tell us about yourself, Tangerin.
My name is Tangerin, otherwise known as Aaron. No, not today. Not during Pride Month. I use she, her pronouns, and I am bisexual. I have been bisexual since I was a young lass. Classic. Actually, that's not true. I thought I was pansexual until like grade 7, and then I was like,
been there.
no, I like the bi flag better.
Yeah, that's valid.
No, in all honesty, bisexual is just suited me better, I think. But I do enjoy the pride flag better. But yeah, that's me. I'm a simplistic little one. Teehee.
All right, Emma, tell us about you and your queer labels.
Well, I am straight. I'm here for support. My
Emma.
pronouns are she, her. And that's basically I'm just here for support.
Thanks.
Where would we be
We love
without our
Emma.
token straight?
Well, there's
I'm the
it's in the
white knight.
contract.
Can we just get a quick show of hands? Who thought Emma was not straight when she first joined?
Me.
I've known Emma since like what senior kindergarten, and
Yeah.
I'm still not 100% sure.
Aaron, I remember the night I think that you and I recruited Emma. We were talking about it, and I was like, "Wait, is Emma straight?" And we were like discussing it, and you were like, "I'm pretty sure we've probably kissed at some point." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Classic.
Very classic.
I made no assumptions.
Smart. So we're gonna assume everything about you, Incarone.
Yeah.
Yay.
Use he, they, it. I'm bi, but I'm asexual, sex repulsed, asexual. And as far as romantic attraction, that's one that's a bit more confusing because there's too many labels, so it gets confusing as to which one is technically the correct one.
Fair.
Yeah.
there's
Feelings be like that.
there's aromantic, which is little to no attraction. It does not mean exclusively no attraction. Same thing with asexual. It's little to no sexual attraction. I fall in the little attraction, small, tiny attraction. Just about the size of Ghedi.
Little attraction as a treat.
For the romantic spectrum, but at the same time, I need an emotional bond in order to have romantic feelings. So I don't know if that counts as demi-aromantic or just straight up aromantic, because it's very rare that I feel romantic attraction. It's only happened twice.
One of them was me, right?
Anyway,
Lightyear.
What?
No,
I
what
didn't
did
hear
she say?
anything that
Nothing,
happened.
nothing.
Okay. Is that your piece, Ryan, or is it Connor's turn?
Connor.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I'm
yeah.
playing Breath of the Wild. That should say enough.
Oh.
During podcast time, young man?
Hey, look, I need something to keep my focus.
Yeah, I'm playing Animal
Are you
Crossing
being
right
ableist?
I turned
Uh.
off my Mario Bros for this.
I think
Emma's
Lisa's just
dedicated.
ableist.
I'm drawing Kaiba. So.
Of
Okay,
course
but-
you are.
Hey, it's Team Codered related.
Discussing.
So
Okay,
Discussing.
Connor, tell us about yourself.
I'm anti-noun.
Right, anti-noun, super straight, homophobic, the whole bit, right?
Yeah.
Alright, cool. Thanks, buddy.
Hey, look. We need some kind of representation in that area. Alright,
Mhm.
my pronouns are he, they. I guess, biromantic, asexual would be the proper term. And, gamer.
Oh, the most oppressed of minorities. Thank you for being brave enough to.
Gamer
Oh, it's
moments.
nothing. It's a
Oh,
real
no
struggle,
problem.
you know?
Sure. Well, I think that's everybody, unless I'm an awful person and I've forgotten Ghedi, who's in the corner. Didi's in the corner, just really, really small.
Yeah. She's about like half a pixel.
Yeah, she's just half a pixel. But that is us. That is all of us right now currently. Basically everyone in TCR is on the LGBTQ spectrum in some capacity, again except for Emma. But she's cute and we like having her around.
Yeah, that's true.
Are
Anyhow,
you sure?
I'm starting to doubt it, honestly. What's going on? So I thought it'd be fun. Wow, that was a nice voice crack. To just reflect on the last year and how if any of us have like explored parts of our identities, we could share that. I know I've been like grappling with my gender identity for a hot second. I know some people here have had their own little identity arcs, but we've all changed quite a bit. Again, except for Emma. But I thought that'd be nice. We could...
Emma, you exception! How dare you?
We're waiting for Emma to come out. It's just a matter of time.
Hey, I've definitely had those moments where I'm like, but I don't know. I think I'm.
Yeah, you were pretty. What?
You guys hearing this?
Yeah, okay.
I genuinely don't
Fine.
remember where my head was at last year because I haven't listened back to the podcast, but I'm pretty sure at the time I think I was still just like strictly using the label non-binary and only using the them pronouns. So the she and the z kind of crept their way up over the months. I don't remember how it started, but I remember I got sucked into the pipeline and I'm just like dangling off the other side of it. It's how it gets you. My sexuality hasn't changed. I'm just hot and I'm attracted to hot people. I can't really change that, unfortunately.
True.
Yeah. I actually, I don't know. I feel like I didn't mention this last time, but I also went through the same thing as Aaron, where I formerly went by the label pansexual and then realized I like the bicolors better. So.
yes.
But in actuality, the definition of bisexual also felt more right.
Yeah.
Because I know for a fact that I do see gender because I'll see big hot woman and I'm like, damn, and I see big hot men and I'm like, damn, Connor, you know.
Well, that's the other thing is I feel like pansexuals and bisexuals kind of get their own bad rep in a way, especially by not to put pansexuals on blast, but especially like just in my experience growing up, you would always see the pride posts and the definitions, and I feel like bisexuals in particular get kind of a bad rep on the internet comparably, because when you post about pansexuals, everyone's like, oh, bisexuals have a preference and pansexuals don't care about gender and don't see gender. And like, while that is true, I feel like it definitely a lot of people see that and kind of give bisexuals a bad rep, because they're like, oh, it's kind of shallow in comparison. But
Yeah.
in all truth, like, for anyone who's going through the two labels and considering, like, there is nothing wrong with having a preference at all. And if you see gender or you don't see gender, then there's nothing wrong with either of those. It doesn't, neither are better than the other, and both are equally valid. And so I think that's
Right.
part of what my struggle was growing up, was I was like, oh, well, like, I do definitely see gender, because like I definitely, I would date a non-binary person, I would date a woman, I would date a man, I would date anything in between. But like, in truth, I do see like gender, and I do have a preference for certain genders over the other. And it's like, even though I don't really care, I wouldn't say that I'm like pansexual in the sense where I just like don't care at all, and I do have preferences. And for anyone questioning out there, there's definitely nothing wrong with that, because that's what I struggled with a lot, was being like, wow, am I a shallow person? But you're not.
You're
And
not a shallow person.
it's okay if you like a flag better than the other.
Listen, aesthetically speaking, it's but Aaron is right, and also if you have a stronger preference, that also does not invalidate your identity at all. It is okay if you lean more one way than the other. It does not diminish your identity, and you are who you are.
I'm gonna butt in real quick. For the longest time, I didn't know that preferences were a thing. I didn't understand that having a preference doesn't make you not bi. I don't know if I said that right. Whichever way the correct way is, I pretend I said that. But yeah, no, it's just the fact that I didn't know that preferences still count.
Yeah.
There's no follow-up to that. I just said that
Okay.
weirdly.
I think, like, if you want to get really nitpicky, I think I wouldn't actually be bi. I'd probably fall more into the label of omnisexual. But
Yeah.
Omni-man.
sometimes it just.
Omni-Man?
Wait, can we get
Wow, way to
omnisec on screen?
invalidate her gender like that, guy.
Thanks, guys.
I definitely think most, well, I mean everyone, pretty much, almost, who identifies as bisexual probably has at least a little bit of a preference. And if you don't, that's fine. But I also think, that's another reason why there's a lot of bad rep in the community, is because, it's like, oh, well, if you are like 10% attracted to women and like 90% attracted to men, then are you really bi? And there's like all that stuff like
Yes,
that. And
you
then
are.
there's also the big, everyone's seen it, like, if you're a woman and you're dating a man, are you really bisexual? Yes. Yes, you are.
Yeah, that
I don't
whole
listen to
argument
that.
is like really bad because like who
Yeah.
cares if it's a small percentage because you still like that certain gender.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was my, I guess, skill issue, because I do have a preference towards women overwhelmingly, but there are still men.
Yeah. That's exactly how I would say I feel, just like reversed.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Like, I remember I struggled a lot in grade, what would have been grade like 8 or 9, I think. There was a moment where, I was very much surrounded by friends who were also in the community, and I had, two of my friends were like had been dating for years, and I was like, oh, I'm questioning a lot, because I was constantly surrounded by these like posts and these ideals that were like, oh, well, I realized, like, oh, I do prefer men like way more than women, and I would absolutely be in a loving relationship with a woman if given the chance. But I definitely would find myself attracted to men more. And so I went through this whole thing where I was like, oh, I don't know what's going on. And I went for about like a few months. I was just like, yeah, guys, I think I am straight. Like, I think I should just go as the label straight to my friends because they were like, yeah, that makes sense. And I was like, oh, and then, a few years later, I got surrounded by all these people and I went to more pride events and I got more educated and I was like, hey, no, I am still valid. And you are also valid, listener.
It's a
That
good
was
message.
beautiful.
Thank you, Tangerin.
Thanks, Emma. Yeah, I feel like I'm rambling a lot because I didn't prepare my thoughts, but you know what?
No, I think you're saying like really important stuff right now.
That's how we know it's coming from the heart, because it's not scripted like everything else we say.
Coming from the far.
Yeah.
Yeah, we script everything. There's so much preparation, you can tell.
Especially the awkward pauses and the slow breathing on the mic.
Yeah, this sounds
Yeah, all that stuff that gets cut out so that way you don't have to suffer, but I do. I suffer for
Can
you.
we mention that? Can we mention the TikTok comment we got on our last Pride?
Yeah, our little opening bit there. That was, if you couldn't tell, we were just making fun of the one we did last year. We put it on TikTok, and somebody just commented like, "This is really awkward."
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of my
And you know
17
what?
alt accounts.
You know what? To be fair,
It
was.
was. There's no shame in it. Sometimes stuff is just awkward. You just gotta own up to it and keep going.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
being gay, it's awkward.
Yeah, and it's
It's
awkward
terrible.
and it's wrong, but you know what?
No, that's no.
I have
Just
something to add.
kidding, haha.
Alright, let's hear from Spooky Con.
So, before I found out I was trans, I was a lesbian. And then I was straight. And then I watched Supernatural.
The turning point.
And that was it, huh?
Yeah.
Aaron had that
Mhm.
supernatural phase.
Dean Winchester.
Right, Connor, you could tell us more about that if you want, because last year we a bunch of us, we like talked about like our coming out stories, like our awakenings and such. So please tell us your favorite coming out story.
I came out in front of a Five Guys.
Actually,
Let's go.
That is epic.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. And then afterwards I went in to get a Coke. It was summer. I was hanging out with friends. And I was like, I think I'm trans. And they were like, oh, hey, that's cool. I was like, yeah, pretty cool. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna go get a Coke.
What do you got there? A smoothie?
My gender.
This Pride I'm coming out is annoying.
Yep, that.
I've
Oh,
been annoying.
now can I pull the line of? Oh, Aaron, I already knew.
Wow.
Oh, Aaron, it was so obvious. I knew since you were little.
God, I'm sorry to anyone who has ever said that. Don't.
I am so glad, like, my mom did not say that to me when I came out to her. But I mean,
Yeah.
to be fair, like, I think I talked about this last Pride that I never actually technically came out to her. She was just like, you know what, if you date whoever you want. And I was like, okay.
Yeah,
Mama Luigi.
she's.
I don't think I actually ever came out to her. I just remember one day, like, sitting in a parking lot with her, and we were talking about, like, I was talking about, like, one of my friends in middle school who had a very horrible experience with coming out with their parents, and their parents kind of being like, no, you're not. And then my mom was like, it got very emotional, and she was like, I don't understand how parents can be like that. And then she just kind of hit me with the, like, I want you to be whoever you want to be, and I'm going to be proud of you no matter what, and I'm going to support you through whatever. So, one day if you bring home your partner and they're a woman or a man or anything in between, like, I will support you no matter what. And I was like, huh. And then I think that was also kind of her way of being like, yeah, I know you're questioning things right now, and I don't want you to have to make a big thing coming out to me because, like, I think that was kind of her way of saying like that. So I was like, huh. And then, like, a few months later, I was like, Mom, I want to go to Pride. And she was like, okay. And then she bought me my pan flag. And I was like, wow.
We love your mom.
Great.
Supportive mama.
Can we get a flashback to when Erin first joined the team and I made her bio say the fruity one without even considering the implication.
talked about that last time too.
Did we actually?
I don't know if it was the last podcast, but we definitely talked about it in one podcast.
Probably. Real TCR On Air fans, tell us what episode that was in, because we don't remember. Yeah, your mom's kind of based for that.
Yeah, your
Yeah.
mom?
Your mama!
When your mom.
Oh, I feel like there was something I was trying to say earlier.
No.
Something about invalidating your identity. No.
You would never do something like that.
No. Never.
Looks at camera.
Guys, it was all a joke, okay? All these are purely theatrical.
But it's all scripted. Remember.
It's true. Everything we say you need to take with a grain of salt because we're annoying and ironic.
Yeah.
But
Listen, we're
we
all
do
very-
support you.
We're all very close friends, so we joke about stuff like this, so... About
But
invalidating
seriously-
We
each
hate
other
each
because
other.
it's funny.
God
It's
damn it,
really
Connor.
funny.
You just can't give up the bit for a second, huh, pal?
What bit? I don't like any of you.
Yeah, okay. Well,
True.
unfortunately, this is not a safe space because Connor hates us. But this podcast is a safe space for you. So if you're... Never mind, just get out of here before Connor gets you.
You know
I
what?
know where everybody lives.
Actually, I know where everyone lives. Go ahead, Aaron.
we just, if you want, we won't let Connor look at the comments, so don't worry about being invalidated by Connor. You know, put you guys can put your lovely coming out stories in the comments. And if you're not out yet and you have no plans on coming out soon, or you don't even know what your identity is yet, then that's okay too. And we still support you and we won't let Connor know. So
Okay, well, let Connor.
Oh, I'll
know.
find out.
Connor's the LGBT boogeyman.
He's the
Eerie.
bypass.
I'm under
Wait,
your bed.
Who was the horror monster who got put in the LGBT section on Netflix?
the Babadook.
The Babadook. Thank you.
Oh my god.
I
Cool.
love
cool.
the
Babadook.
Anyway,
Isn't the Babadook trans or something?
I think it was
He's a
just a
trans
mistake
gay man,
on
you
Netflix
know.
part.
Good
But
for him.
speaking of trans gay men, Connor, tell us more about you.
Oh god.
Why are you
Yeah,
guys
you-
laughing? It's just the truth.
Well, actually, my preference is women and non-binary
Woo!
people.
Woo, woo, I'm both of those. Let's go.
Winning.
So, I really, really like Luca and Gerard Way.
Oh, good choices.
He actually
Luca, are you talking about the
trans?
movie Luca?
Nah, I mean like Megurine Luca, the
Oh.
Vocaloid.
Oh, I see.
Why'd you say it like, oh, I see?
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
I know. I
disappointed.
simp for a fictional computer woman.
That's showing.
I'm a weirdo, okay? I'm quirky.
You know
Okay.
why I
And
wear this
that's
hat all the
okay.
time?
Yeah, I knew someone was gonna make the Riverdale joke. Let's get.
I actually used to watch that show.
Oh my god, because you're
I knew I was
Jughead.
wasting.
Okay, to
So
be
many people
fair,
have
I
called me
watched
Jughead.
the first
Because
season.
you're
and
asexual.
The first season was actually decent.
The
Yeah, I
first
watched
season
a
was
bit of
good.
it.
Second season was okay,
Season 7
and then
is
it was
amazing.
downhill from there.
Is
Welcome
that the
back
one
to TCR
where
On
they
Air.
all-
Today we will be
Riverdale?
discussing Riverdale.
Right, sorry,
Yeah.
we're talking about pride and our identities and how they've changed and discovered. Is there anybody who hasn't gotten to talk about how they've changed since last year?
I changed my pronouns
This is true, you did. I remember you had
very recently.
a whole little crisis. It wasn't very recently, dude. That was like 6 months ago, at least.
What? Really?
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Time moves.
Huh.
I
Dude,
actually I did some experimenting, I will say.
Experimental pill.
You know what? I'm kind of I don't really like talking about it sometimes because it's like I don't know, it always makes me nervous to talk about because I'm like, oh, if I, talk about how I experimented with different identities and stuff, it's like, oh, so you were just trying them out, you were, and it's like, oh, but the truth is experimenting isn't a bad thing, and it's a very important part of a lot of people's journeys. So I think it's nice to normalize talking about it. But I definitely I think last Pride episode was around the time that I was like, maybe I might be polyamorous. And I did kind of go, identify myself with that and for a bit. And honestly, I'm still kind of like on the fence, on the spectrum with that idea, because it's like, currently in the relationship I am in right now, I could never imagine myself being in a like polyamorous situation where one of us has multiple partners or we both have multiple partners. But I don't think one relationship dictates my identity. Just like, as I was saying, you can be in a relationship with someone of the opposite gender and still consider yourself bisexual or pansexual or anything like that. So I don't know, that stuff I'm still kind of on the fence about, but I also did experiment with pronouns a bit, for a while I was like, maybe she they sounds kind of nice. And I realized after kind of like going through that, I was like, it doesn't really suit me. And that's one of the things I was like, oh, I don't like talking about this, because it's like, you just were trying it out, but I think that's okay. So that's how I've changed. Right now, I'm a little sissy gender, little sissy gender idiot, bisexual, basic little loser. But I may change in the future, and I think I've changed a bit since last Pride. So we'll see.
Yeah, I don't see
Thank you,
anything
Aaron.
wrong with like experimenting because it's one thing to think about it, but then actually trying it out and have other people refer to you as that thing that can really give you insight.
Yeah.
How else are you supposed to
Insightful.
figure it out if you don't like at least experiment a bit? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's facts. Aaron, you were like just like, gosh, like we need to give you the podcast mic and just like send you off, because like
yes.
you're spitting straight facts. You're spitting. Yeah,
Gay
I'm gonna
facts.
stop the spitting analogy. Oh yeah, there you go. Thank you. But it's very much true, and I'm still not like 100% sold. I really like the label gender fay, which is just like a
Yeah.
side tangent of gender fluid, and it's just like it means like your identity is fluid to any concept of gender that isn't masculine. So just like sometimes I feel non-binary and just androgynous, and sometimes I love to feel feminine. And when I got into my place of work, I introduced myself with she/they pronouns, and at work, gender is constantly affirmed, and it's so nice. It's because like I, it just hearing people say it got me so used to it, and I'm like, this is right. This feels nice. So getting it out there, especially when you're going into a new environment, when people meet you that way, is like it's very, very nice, because gosh, I don't know, it's just really cool to hear and know people who exclusively know you the way you want to be known. It's very cool. Very
I
cool.
mean, that's the thing, is I feel like people who identify as like non-binary and trans and stuff often are very like misunderstood, especially by people who don't really understand like the spectrum of gender and sexuality. Because a lot of the times it'll be like, everyone's like, oh, everyone's going by she they now, or everyone's going by they them now. And it's like, in a few years you're gonna change and you're gonna decide that's not what you want. And that's honestly one of the reasons why I was very hesitant. I've been very hesitant to talk about like experimenting with pronouns a lot, is because I don't want to be considered that to some people. Like, I don't want people to see non-binary people like how I was experiencing my gender and be like, oh, they're gonna be like everyone else and they're gonna experiment and then they're gonna realize that's not what you want. But not everyone is like that. I am a very rare case, and I still think experimenting is okay, because I genuinely was like, maybe I would like to be referred to as they them or she they. And then when people actually use those pronouns for me, I realized like it doesn't suit me. It doesn't feel like me, and that's okay. That's okay. So don't even stress. Experiment with what you want, and if people are being annoying and they're like, "Ah, you change you change your gender so much, you change your identity so much. Just be like, hey, I'm trying to learn who I am. And I wasn't privileged enough to, know who I was right off the bat. And that is okay, because people change, and that's totally fine. And you'll
Plus, it's
figure
none of their
who you are.
business.
Yeah,
Facts.
you'll figure out who you are in your own time, and whether that takes, whether you know who you are right off the bat, right when you're born, right when you can talk, whether it takes, your all your teenage years, or whether you don't figure out who you are until you're like 50. That's okay. You do you. And if people try to judge you, just be like, no, no, no. And that's
Yes.
my wisdom.
Aaron the Wise. Damn.
I don't want to take the mic that much. I just
No, it's good.
Pop off.
You're popping off.
I've got thoughts. I've got opinions.
I'm gonna confess
Your
on
thoughts.
live podcast, I'm a little sidetracked being a little gay right now, so I appreciate you carrying the podcast.
Aw,
Me and Ren are
What
texting.
are you up to?
Texting Ren. Yeah.
whoa.
That's a
Okay.
joke. It's not I am not texting Arma TCR.
What? Hey.
That took you a hot second to register, buddy.
Yeah, it really did.
I want to quickly circle back to Erin mentioned how she's been kind of just like on the fence about polyamory, because my whole story with it is honestly a juicy one that we can get into. But the
Yeah.
funniest part was when I was realizing, and I was pretty scared, because it's like I feel like there's a lot of stigma, like social stigma around it. And so I was nervous, and I'd only told like a few members. Like I remember Thomas and Risa, I messaged them both privately. I was like, "Lol, what if I was poly?" Lol, like no, like what? And they were like, "Yeah, okay, sure, pal." And then the next day I was like, "Hey, guess what?"
Kick 'em out.
They're like, "Wow." And so and Aaron, you were gone for some
Well,
reason.
it was really funny because I'm pretty sure this was just after I had gotten to a relationship, or maybe it was like just before, but that was kind of when I started realizing like, oh, maybe I wouldn't actually, I don't think I would actually be comfortable in a polyamorous relationship. So I remember when you were telling TCR, you were like, haha, hey Aaron, guess what? Guess what I am? And I
Yeah.
was like, lol, I'm not.
Yeah, no, we were in a voice call, and I was saying like you had been gone for for a few days, because I remember that's why like you were one of the last people I spoke to.
Yeah.
And I messaged you something like, Aaron, like we have a lot in common. And then yeah, you were just sort of like, I was like, how did you realize, like, how did you accept that you were poly? And you're like, oh, well, like, I don't think I am anymore, lol.
Just shut down.
Yeah, literally.
I was like, ew, gross. What?
That's
L
not
plus
what was
ratio.
happening there. You're gonna contribute to a false narrative. It was much worse, as we all know. That was a funny one. So that was like the only other big revelation, and I don't really talk about it much because it's not really like something I pursue. Like all I know is that I have the capacity to care for multiple people, but in practice,
Yeah.
I have no idea how it would actually go. So it's like it's not something that I'm ever seeking out.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I feel. Is I feel like, I don't know, lately, like, and I mean lately, by lately I mean like the past like year or so, I've been off and on, and it's kind of like, I don't know, I'm more leaning towards like I'm probably not polyamorous, because it's like, while the idea of it seems somewhat fun and like enjoyable, it's like just the reality of like who I am and the type of person I am, like how I control my feelings and how I feel about people, and like how I am, like, not that I'm a jealous person, but just like how I am, like, in that sense. It's like I don't think that is a type of relationship that I could actually do in a healthy way, like for myself and for others. So it's like, but I feel like polyamory is definitely one of the sexualities that gets the most negative rep, especially from
Yeah.
other people in the LGBT community, just because a lot of people don't understand it. And I think also, especially like older generations, they don't really understand it, because they think of polyamory in the same sense as like polygamy, like what like Mormons
Mhm.
do, where it's like it's just one guy who has like multiple wives, stuff like that. And for some people, that is what they like, and that is they're able to do that in a healthy way for everyone. But I think that's kind of what a lot of people see it as just like, oh, it's just some person who can't handle one relationship and just wants everything for themselves, or a lot of people see it as like cheating too, and like, yeah, it's definitely a difficult one to come to terms with and kind of learn about, but we figure it out. I also feel like it's hard for like some people to want to come out just because of like how big of a deal it seems for some people, because some
Yeah.
people are like, yeah, I want people to like accept me and I want people to be like, wow, I'm so proud, but other people are just like, but most people are just like, oh, I don't want it to be like, you don't want it to seem like people are celebrating because it's like, wow, you're a different person. You want it to be like,
Yeah.
wow, it's you. You know who you are. Congrats.
Yeah, no, basically all I want is people to just shut up.
Yeah,
And
people to be like, cool.
yeah, just be like, oh, okay, and then move on as if nothing happened except, just get it correctly.
Yeah.
Sometimes people don't want to be in the spotlight, and that's okay.
The poop light got him.
You want to be on the
Yes.
spotlight? Come on to our podcast, TCR on the
I was
spotlight.
gonna do that, you little.
Yeah, you've had enough podcast time. Just kidding.
Yeah, you've
Okay.
talked too much, Ramble
Yeah,
Aaron.
It's a nice breath of fresh
I am
air.
rambling. I feel like most of the stuff I'm saying is right.
Nah, I'd say it's
Okay.
cohesive. It makes sense.
Let's
It's
go.
based.
I just zone out every time you open your mouth, so I don't really know. But
Aw,
Oh my god.
aw.
just
But yeah,
kidding,
no,
babe.
it's just that I don't like the idea of like me saying whatever and then people being like, oh no, you don't have to do it that way. It's like I said it. I said this because I wanted to do it the specific way I said. I know that I don't have to do it the way that I
Yeah.
want to do it, but that's how I want to do it.
And then, I mean, I also people will probably like, like you don't want people to be like, oh, you could have told us that. Like, yeah, I know. That's why I'm doing it now. You didn't have to make it a big deal.
Big squeal, big squealing hog.
Oh my god, that's what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
I did not mean that in a sexual way.
Yeah, all right. We're moving on. I'm very glad that over time, more and more of the world's becoming more accepting. It sucks that there are certain places in the world that are somehow getting worse.
Yeah.
Not to name names,
Sure.
but I hate Texas so bad.
Mm-hmm.
I hate
Yeah.
all their awful laws of like denying trans kids like treatment and stuff. That's terrible. That's like literally the worst thing they could possibly do.
Oh god, they do that. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
It's a new thing. They're making it. I don't know if they're trying to make it like illegal, but there's a lot of awful people who think that doctors who treat trans kids and give them hormone replacement therapy and stuff, they think that they're unethical and that they're ruining those kids' lives and stuff. So they're trying to make it like illegal.
Yeah.
And it's good old Texas.
Well, because it's the whole ideal of everyone's like, well, they're gonna change their mind and then they're gonna regret it. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Let them make that choice.
Yeah,
D-
if somebody's going through with that, it would be weird if they didn't think about it thoroughly and deeply. It's like getting a tattoo, except it's much
exactly.
more important.
Exactly.
Well, depending on the situation, I don't.
Ultimately, I think you can sum up the whole argument with stop concerning yourself with other people's lives. Let
Yeah.
people do what they need to be happy in their own bodies. If they're not, stop being terrible. Stop living in Texas.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah, these poor kids, like, trigger
Yeah.
warning. That's gonna cause, like, higher suicide rates.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
great way to solve the problem.
Yeah, no, it's just because like there's a lot of thought that goes into it, and it's also very difficult to transition because of like all the stuff. There's a lot of steps that at any point you also have to talk to psychiatrists to really.
Yeah.
They'll be like, yes, you do have dysphoria. This would help you.
Yeah.
Also, as some of you may have known in the podcast, I don't know if I did mention it. I lived in Texas for like 5 years, so I have a bunch of friends over there. They are also very upset. It's just like, just because the government does the stupid dum dum, that doesn't mean like the people there are
Yeah.
also stupid dum dum. Because like when I was living in Texas, it was a very accepting, very extremely diverse place. There was people from all walks of life, all
Yeah.
different types of races, identities. It was very diverse where I lived, and it was very good. It was kind of a shock moving back to Canada. Well, here specifically where we are, because white people.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. I was thinking of something to say, and I forgot.
Oh, you're all good. You're all good.
And when I say white people, I mean like there's like no racial diversity here.
It's terrible, but our unnamed state, or not state, province. Are you serious? Did I just say state instead of province?
What's
Is
wrong with you?
it's the Ryan. It's his American influence. Um, our province was, yeah, we're in Canada. We just got doxxed. Our province was named the most gender diverse province in. Wait, no, our city was named most diverse in the province. There we go. We don't get that big of an award, but it's still nice to know. And I think Team Codered accounts for about like at least 5% of that. So
Yeah.
You know, considering this is Canada, you could say it's full of special snowflakes.
Oh my.
that's problematic. You're canceled.
Yeah, I have already been canceled.
It is nice to know that we live in a place that is so like queerly dense, if that's the right way to say it. I love when I'm at work. Someone will come in and I just know. Like I'll be like, I like your I like your hair. Wink. Like they'll come in, they'll have like a mask with a pride flag on. I'm like, hey, nice mask. Wink.
I like your shoelaces.
Yeah. I like your shoelaces. That's a good one.
I guess the change from Texas to Canada was from racial diversity to gender diversity.
Gender diversity, yeah. It's either all white people or all gay people. Wait, no, this is all white. Okay. You know what I do. But it is really nice because it's like, God, I don't know, I've grown up with so many of these people, and I often love the joke that Thomas, as Risa, and we all met. Well, I'd known Thomas before, but the four of us all met together collectively in grade 9 science class, and 3 out of 4 of us went in cisgender. None of us came out alive. Yeah, no, it's the curse. I think Thomas just kind of like spread it like like an STI to us. I remember when I came out to him, he hit me with the transgenderification beam. Honestly, it was quarantine especially that just was the heavy hitter. And you locked up in our rooms. I know it was during that time that Askimo was non-binary, and then I was like, oh, shit, like
Alone with your thoughts.
yeah, exactly. And Az came out first, and I was like, that's like, like I had never really related to like being a stinky little guy, and then Az came out, and I was like, wait, that's an option. So then I was like, I started to explore myself, and then eventually I was like, yeah, I'm not what I was born as. I'm non-binary, and I'm like, maybe I'm a little more female leaning, and I know like I didn't see Risa through all of quarantine, and she got transgender during that time too. What do I even have to say? All that time being alone and not having to present yourself to society just made everyone question themselves and give us depression too.
Well,
Oh
yeah, and I
my.
feel like
I beat you all to the race.
I feel like that's the thing is like a lot of people are saying like, oh, it's weird. Especially I find on like TikTok, right? Because people are so open about like everything on TikTok. So I find a lot of people are like, oh, you know, quarantine hit and all these kids became like chronically online and now everyone's presenting as transgender or like everyone's bisexual and everyone's, you know,
Thank
but I
God.
feel like I hate when people say that because it's like, no, you know, it's not that people saw other people online and were like, oh, I want to do
Mhm.
that. It's that everyone had the chance because of quarantine to be alone and express themselves and research and be like, see people online and see these identities and be like, wow, I feel like that. And there's not that pressure of like being in public and having to present, the way you think you're supposed to be, and being around people, especially in like high schools where everyone's so it's like, oh, blah blah blah. So it's like, you have that chance to be alone and think and do research, and it's like, wow, I know who I can be now. So it's nice. It's nice.
It is really nice, and I'm so proud for
Sorry.
everyone listening to this who like during the past few years has questioned themselves. I'm really proud of you, even if it had nothing to do with being locked in your room. If you've explored yourself and you've learned yourself and you love yourself, I'm proud of you. And if you don't love yourself, I hope you do soon, because we love you and we will support you until you do love yourself.
Except
Because
Connor.
except
My thoughts exactly.
yeah, we minus Connor will support you, and it's not easy. It's really not easy. And even though we live in a really diverse place, there are still so many people who aren't cool. So
Yeah.
you just don't worry about them. You just keep doing you. Like you can rock. My bad. Sorry.
Wait, you said
Potty mouth.
you'll love them until they love themselves, so you'll stop loving them after they
Well,
love
yeah.
themselves.
I'm like a mama bird. I will love my baby birds until they can fly, in which case they can handle it themselves.
Yeah, it's always easier said than done, though, to I guess defy all the cringeness, the homophobia, the transphobia, whatever have you.
Definitely.
It's much easier to say to just keep going than to actually like do it in practice, because it is tough.
It's tough, but
Absolutely.
as long as you've got a strong like group of people, then if you've got the girth.
No.
I
Okay.
don't, and that's the problem.
Girthy.
It's a very, very hard battle, but it is like the ultimate and sexiest battle to win.
It is a worth battle.
I mean, in a way, you're right. Technically speaking.
What does that mean?
Yeah, I'm confused.
Yeah, personally, I think
sexy
the hardest battle to win is the boss battle from the Forest Temple in Ocarina of Time, but I guess
Good
that
point,
one
good
I
point.
guess that one's pretty hard too.
Was there anything anyone else wanted to say to our fans, to the lovely people, or do we want to move on to our next segment?
Don't be gay.
I am a
Oh my
building.
god,
Don't-
Aaron.
Don't be racist. I am a building.
I will haunt your dreams.
Yes.
Cool. So
I'm under all your beds.
I was thinking we should
Owie.
let's do a quick recap of all the really good queer representation in media, because we talked about how just like everyone's been on the internet and absorbing media, and there has been a lot of really good representation on the media that I think we should
Yeah,
give a little shout out.
Like Cass from Supernatural going to Super Hell.
No, I said good representation.
Well, I feel I haven't actually watched it actually I read the first book like forever ago, but I know Heartstopper is a huge one.
Oh my gosh, yes. I haven't watched it yet, but I really, really want to. Anybody here watch Heartstopper?
The one scene I've seen a lot of it like on TikTok, a lot of people posting on TikTok, and the one scene that I really thought was such a good representation in media was the one scene where I believe his name's Nick. I believe Nick is the blonde one.
Nick Nelson.
Yeah, where he's taking the like "Am I gay?" quiz.
Okay, yeah, I did see that.
And it's like, oh, that's so, like, I know a lot of people, I know you like see it, and it's supposed to be like, or a lot of people see it as like a haha, he's he's crying because he got 62% gay on the quiz, but it's such like, it's so unbelievably accurate, because I feel like if you are on the gender or like sexuality, like LGBT spectrum in any way, you've been in his shoes, where you're like looking up, am I gay? Like, why do I feel these ways? And it's like, oh, such good representation.
I'd say another huge shout out to queer rep in the media. I'll let Connor take this one, because I think
Oh yes.
Connor's hero Gerard Way is to thank for it.
To stank for it.
Oh yes.
In the Umbrella,
Transgenderism?
yes, in the Umbrella Academy.
Oh, the Umbrella Academy! Oh, I love it so much. It's one of my favorite shows. I got into it because, like, My Chemical Romance, of course, is one of my favorite bands. And Gerard Way, oh my god. Holy crap.
I actually have not seen the Umbrella Academy yet, but I did read the comics like forever ago
Oh, the
when I was
comics
in-
are so good as well.
when I was in peak My Chemical Romance era.
Well, Connor,
Oh,
tell us about Elliot Page in the Umbrella Academy.
Elliot Page, his character is gonna be trans, kind of to fit the actor as well. So that's cool. So I guess Vanya will be Victor, but the season isn't out yet, and that didn't happen in the comics, but who cares because it's cool anyway. And Gerard Way
Exactly.
is a Chad.
Exactly. Gerard Way's a Chad.
I'd like to
Um,
talk about oh,
Oh, no, go ahead.
okay. Gerard Way was wearing shorts the other night at one of the concerts. I'd just like to point that out.
That's pretty
Okay.
good.
Yeah.
Also on the topic of My Chemical Romance, I think we should also mention Frank Iero making binders,
Yeah! I'm
True.
so
And, like,
excited.
actually educating himself and getting in contact with these brands, and like instead of just looking up whatever and releasing them, like he was asking people for advice and asking for their experiences and looking up like safe ways to bind and such, and I just like, wow, what a
Frank
guy.
Iero, I love you.
So good.
Honestly, Frank Iero is one of my favorite musicians, and like
Oh,
he's such a big
absolutely.
inspiration to me. Like he's just so great.
Absolutely.
I've never met him, but he seems pretty cool.
Abs.
Well, I've never met him either, but I
I didn't
wish.
think so.
He
I
liked one of my
wish.
tweets once.
Oh, lucky.
Wait.
It was like way back in the day. I just like replied to one of his tweets or something and he liked it and I was like, wow.
The closest thing I've ever got was Melanie Martinez liking one of my Instagram comments and replying.
Damn.
Yeah, like 12-year-old me, like almost lost their mind.
Holy.
Pacify her.
Okay. Any other notable representation in the media?
I mean-
The Owl
House.
House.
Yep, there it is.
There's Luz and Amity. There's Rain and the Ida.
Ida.
And
Hey,
the
isn't Lilith aromantic?
oh, is she?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
She's
Let's
either arrow.
go.
I think she's either arrow or ace, if not both.
Yeah, I
Let's
think she's
go.
both. And then Gus is asexual.
Let's go.
And Luz is bi.
Amity's a lesbian.
Yeah, disgusting. No, I'm kidding.
And hey, they kissed. They kissed. Sorry,
They
Alan,
did!
sorry.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. I find it just hilarious that they just blew all of their animation budget on the kiss, because you see the kiss is animated just so perfect, just really well.
It's so fluid. Like it's
Just like
as
the
well
fight scenes.
animated as the fight scenes. Exactly.
Yeah.
Dana Terrace is sitting here like, hey guys, Disney gave us some extra budget. Do we spend it on fight scenes or gay people?
Based.
Yeah.
That was I don't know, like when that happened I couldn't stop laughing.
And Disney, the hypocrites they are, made any attempt to try and capitalize on that scene, like just by posting the clip on YouTube.
Yeah.
Screw Disney so bad, because you know Dana Terrace was like fighting goons in the hallway trying to get to Mickey's office with a baseball bat, like, I'm keeping the kiss scene. He's like, oi, no gay witches. I don't know how Mickey talks, so that was just like a twisted Shaggy, but you get the idea.
This was technically 2021, I believe the game came out, but some of my favorite representation in the past few years is Bug Snacks.
Oh, never played.
Bug Snacks is very good, and it's a very, you're just like, oh, it's a cute game, but they have a lesbian couple, which is already established, a non-binary character, and a gay couple that like comes to be a couple throughout the game as you play. But one of my favorite things about Bug Snacks, and I haven't actually seen the Owl House, but I believe the Owl House is also like this, is that they don't make it a big deal. Like there's no in Bug Snacks there's no like coming out scene, and there's no like, oh well, I like you but we're both guys, and like there's nothing about the non-binary character, like no one being like, oh yes, they have different pronouns. Like it's just like so normalized, and they're just like the gay characters are just like, yeah, remember that time we kissed? Yeah, I thought we were dating this whole time. It's like, yes.
Well, were they?
I mean, I don't know.
The thing about the Owl House is like, since the Boiling Isles is like basically in a way hell, it's kind of like anything really goes because they live in such an absurd world.
Yeah.
Connor, are you trying to imply that gay people go to hell?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the Owl House
damn.
This is more of like Incarone conspiracy corner, but well, not really. But you know, ancient Greece was fruity, but even
Oh, big
Yes.
it was so gay. Even like when I was like growing up, obviously there wasn't. Well, I guess all of us. There wasn't like gay representation wasn't really a thing, and you didn't know about that because nobody would talk about it because you know gay bad and all that. But it's just when you see the historical historical stories, like ancient stories like the Greek gods and all that doing their stuff, William Shakespeare, it is so fruity.
Yep.
It is there's so much there is you cannot tell me that there is no gay tension between Mercutio and Romeo
Yes.
or Hamlet and Horatio.
Oh my god. Okay, get this. In English class, a few months ago, I wrote a gay poem about Hamlet.
Yes.
Or it was a soliloquy. I got an A.
Nice.
Guess what? Guess what?
Huh?
I did the exact same thing.
Yeah!
I even cut out a little fake mustache to put on my face, and I was like, "Oh yes, Hamlet, my good friend. Yes, yes, yes. I care about
I
him
also
very
got
much."
to play Hamlet.
Yeah, the teacher asked if she could show it to future classes because she liked it so much.
Yeah.
Let's go.
That is the highest honor.
Damn.
Yeah, I
You know,
was-
it's just like so it's still obviously it's still like a constant fight, and I respect like producers and filmmakers so much, like all these people that push for this representation, especially like the producers of the Owl House and all that. And I just like my utmost respect to all of them who are like willing to
Mhm.
risk their jobs and fight to get this out there. But
yeah.
I just like it really is amazing how far we've come with representation, because like growing up, like the only representation in media I can think of is like the two lesbian characters in Friends who were just like the butt of the joke, and their whole existence was just like, my wife left me for a girl. Lesbians? What? And it's
Yep,
like,
good old
it's
Ross.
and I really love the like messages Heartstopper gives out, and I love like how they go into like the struggles of you know, learning your identity and figuring stuff out. But I really love how normalized this representation has become, like in Bug Snacks and the Owl House and everything like that, where it's like there you don't need a big coming out scene, and you don't need the character to be like beat up and sad all the time, and it's just like just let it happen, you know? It's so
Yeah.
nice.
I want to give a big shout out to Stranger Things, and it's not a spoiler, or at least if you're caught up, it's not a spoiler. To at least until season 4. You don't have to have seen season 4. It doesn't matter anyway, because it's not big spoilers. But the character of Robin, I love her,
Yes.
and this is like minor spoilers for volume 1 of season 4. It's really not that big, but her friendship with Steve is so important because, for one, because she's gay and it's awesome rep. But to me, what's even more important is her friendship with Steve, because he's literally just a straight guy from the 80s who is her best friend, and he like it's not like all of the main characters are accepting and stuff because it's the 80s. Like we like these characters, but for all we know, like half of them are homophobic. But Steve
Like
loves Robin as a friend and like protects her. Like he doesn't. There's like so many scenes where he's like, you know, I would date Robin, but she's busy right now. Like he never outs her. He's such a good friend to her, and he
and
protects her.
also like considering the fact too, like especially season 1, like his character was that he's like the popular douchebag. Like he's so like, you know, you'd so expect him to be the one that would like bully gay people, but he's just,
Yeah.
Like, genuinely though, in season 3, Robin's coming out scene with Steve is like one of the most, the most emotional I've ever felt during any coming out scene in any film, because it was just so, it was perfect, because it's like, they acknowledge that it's like a weird thing at the time to like hear, and it's very like out there, and they acknowledge that it's not something that you would expect to hear, but they don't make it a big deal, and it's just so, it's so nice, because she's obviously very emotional, and she's very hesitant telling Steve, because she's like, it doesn't know what to do, because it's so not normalized, but it's so like he's just okay with it. Like, he's a little confused at first, because he's like, oh, I see, but he's just so, it's so nice.
It
I
takes
love
him so long to
Steve.
get it. It takes him so long.
I love Steve. I'm a Steve stan
Yeah.
till the day I die.
Now,
Steve's my favorite
as
character.
for Will, Will's an interesting one. At the time of recording, Volume 2 isn't out. It probably won't be even when this episode is out, because I think that's like what, July 1st?
It's July,
Um,
yeah.
Yeah, so it won't be. But there's a you can't deny that Will is also gay. So we're gonna see how that turns out, because he so clearly has a crush on Mike, and it seems like they're building up to that reveal. And oh boy, I don't know we're
Well,
gonna
also,
find out.
I could be, correct me if I'm wrong, like I could be totally wrong about this, but I feel like I did hear, this isn't really spoilers because it's just something they put out, but I'm pretty sure I did hear that like they will explicitly say Will is gay, like come volume 2, like not like beat around the bush, just be like, yeah, he's gay, and like say it. And I think if they do that, I think that is very important, because that's the one thing that representation is really lacks a lot, is that
Mhm.
we're getting to the point where people are more comfortable showing gay characters and trans characters and stuff like that, but they're still so hesitant to say the word gay and lesbian
Yeah,
and trans.
right?
Like, it's like,
Absolutely. So yeah, just a little shout out to Stranger Things, because Robin's a really amazing. Steve is a really great character to contribute to her arc there, and yeah, Will Byers is gay.
real.
So that's all I had for now. If anyone else wants to go.
I'll just be talking about writing decisions and stuff. Now, of
Mhm.
course, I'm not a professional. Take my opinions and my advices from my limited experience with a grain of salt, because I'm not anything special.
But your teacher wanted to read your piece to future classes.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, I am the greatest of all time, and all of you should bow before me in my literary might.
No.
Yes.
So it's like representation and all that. It is. So we were talking about like representation and all that. Yeah, the fact that some of the media, they make it a big deal when it just shouldn't be. Well, it obviously depends on the situation, depends on what you're writing about, depends on like what the purpose is. Like if the whole purpose is somebody going through an identity, they're learning about themselves and all that. It depends on what you want to do. At the end of the day, execution is what makes something good or bad. If you execute it poorly, wow. It's just like if you know what you're doing, you can pull it off. But if you don't know what you're doing, then yeah, no, it's not gonna work. But it's just the fact that maybe it's just me, because I'm not a person that likes celebrating stuff like that, because it's just like
Mhm.
it's not necessary. It's not important.
Yeah.
Let me clarify, because that doesn't sound good. It's not important, as in it's not like, oh, I'm a completely different person. I'm from an entirely different dimension. No, this is who I am. I'm telling you, I'm giving you information I'm putting this on the table. This is me, and this is how I'm going to be, and deal with it.
Yeah.
It's not, the person isn't doing it for other people. They are doing it for themselves, and that's what matters. That's the most important part, is that they do it for them.
I agree 100%.
And it especially the most important part is that they're not doing it to be validated, because they're already them validating themselves. Them being validated by themselves is all that matters. Them knowing what they are.
Yeah, my opinion with that is like, I'm trying to figure out how to word this properly. Like, obviously there are exceptions, but especially when there's definitely times where I think it's very important to show issues and like that and make it
Yeah.
a big make like coming out seem like a big deal, especially in things like Heartstopper and Love Simon and stuff like that, where it's like that's the whole point is how hard it is.
Yeah.
But I feel like representation wise, especially in kids media, because we're trying to make that's the whole thing is like we're trying to make it more normalized in kids media because it is normal and it's not a big deal and we want kids to understand that is that I think it's very important to have subtle representation like that, like in the Owl House, where it's just like, wow, these two are a couple and they're both girls, and it doesn't need to be a big thing, and we don't need characters being homophobic or anything like that because it's not needed. Because that it's so important to have this representation out there to kids, but I don't think kids should be subjected to things like those homophobic ideals and stuff because that makes it less normalized for them. Because then they, if there's like a whole scene in a show where it's like two gay people are getting together and then they make it such a huge deal and they make it a character being like, you know what, I'm gay and that's like my whole thing, then they're gonna be like, well, why does that have to be a big deal? Like why it makes them think that it comes across the idea that like gay people are still different from straight people, and
Yeah.
I don't
So
think
many
that
shows do that. Oh my
I don't
god.
think that's an I think there's in shows where that is so important to put stuff like that and put struggles, but I think especially like shows like that it should be more normalized so these like young impressionable kids aren't like, wow, these people are different from us. They're just like, oh, those two girls are a couple, so it must be normal and it's something that's okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
I hope I worded that properly because like,
you did.
I do agree with that. Homophobia and all that does exist. Discrimination does exist, but there's a time and place for it, and you have to do it right
yeah.
whenever you're showing it off. Okay, that doesn't sound well. You get what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean, yeah.
But yeah, no,
Um,
people definitely go through those things of where like parents don't accept them and all that. It is also important to show people overcoming that and being like, you know what? No, screw you. You're not my parent because you don't accept me for who I am. I'm not going to deal with you anymore.
yeah. And I mean, I kind of want to like reiterate too because I feel like I maybe worded it wrong. Like, I don't think that we should stop putting like things in kid shows where it's like we are gay and we're proud to be gay because I think that's awesome. I just think like it should get more normalized in most things. But I think actually one thing I didn't mention that was amazing for representation that I think was incredible that they were even able to do this was the Pride episode they did for Blue's Clues.
Oh, what? Really?
I don't know if anyone saw that.
I had no idea that happened.
That was, I believe it was last Pride. They had because Blue's Clues is still going, they had a whole special episode that was about them going to a Pride parade, and they had a drag queen guest star who was the host for it. And I think that is incredible that they did that. And I have no idea, honestly, how they were even able to do that because people are so sensitive about what's put on TV, especially I was actually astounded that they were able to get a drag queen guest star because like
Yeah.
so many people are so against like drag queens being or kids being exposed to drag and stuff like that. So I think that was amazing.
Yeah.
Damn, Blue's Clues doing it right.
Yeah.
Popping off.
Popping off.
Oh, I remember what I was going to say. It kind of goes back to the whole Texas thing, because like the whole reasoning why they banished trans people is because it infringes on Christian beliefs or whatever. And
Yeah.
that's the most stupid, asinine thing ever. Because people need to understand, this obviously doesn't go for just religious nuts, but just people that are, well, first of all, don't push your ideals onto other people that don't want it.
Yeah.
Like, just in general, doesn't matter if it's like your religion, your lack of religion, whatever, doesn't matter. Don't force people.
Yep.
But also, the world doesn't revolve around your beliefs.
Yep.
Speak.
Just because somebody's trans or somebody's gay or whatever have you, that is not an attack on your religion or whatever your belief is. That is somebody being themselves, and if you don't like it, cope. I don't care.
Yeah.
Oh, seriously.
Fact.
I think if everyone could understand the simple concept of if it doesn't concern you and they're happy, leave them alone.
Especially the
Yeah.
fact that do whatever you want, you won't be able to change their mind. You can't, whatever you
Yeah.
do, you can't, you have no effect on that. You have no control over them. You can't just tell them, no. That doesn't change anything. You're accomplishing nothing.
Yep.
Their reaction to, oh, just let people be themselves is going to be, oh, they're going to expose future generations and cause more problems. Like, no, that's not
problems?
even true, you idiots.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
this is kind of a case of arguing with fools. Kind of does absolutely nothing because those people aren't going to listen to this. Well, if people hear this stuff, then they're not going to change their mind. Just like
Yeah.
how people aren't going to change their mind if those same discriminatory people are like, hey, stop that, and the people that identify against that, that's not going to change them either. But it's just the fact that you're going to have to deal with the fact that people don't all succumb to whatever bubble you're in. People have different opinions, people are different, and you're going to disagree, and you're going to have to deal with that because that's just how it works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Facts.
But some implementation of LGBT characters is obviously absolutely terrible. But it's just the fact that some of them, they make it so, and it's not even like old executives and all that do this. It's also like, I guess the DeviantArt people, I guess amateur writers or whatever have you. They make a character's identity their whole personality, and that's all that they are.
Yeah.
That's not good. That's not good writing. That's not a good character. It's a boring character. And like, even I'll put it a bit into perspective. If you look at a straight character that's like, it's a womanizer for lack of a better term, but it's like their whole thing is like, haha, I like women. That's also incredibly boring. Don't do that.
Yeah.
You can say Minetta. It's okay.
But just the fact that like it doesn't work for a straight character, it's not gonna work for for an LGBT character because, well, guess what? Actually, this kind of segues into another point. It's just like the fact that sometimes gay couples are treated differently, and it's like a weird thing when it's not. It's a normal thing. It should be treated as a relationship because that's all it is. It's just love. And I mean that like writing wise. It shouldn't be like this foreign thing. It's like, oh my gosh, oh, these two men are in love. What do I do? Write a romance. It's not that difficult. It's the same thing. It's just two people that are in love. It isn't, it's not that deep.
And I mean, it also like harms, like, obviously I'm not saying these people are in the right because they're absolutely not, but I mean, it also harms the LGBT community in itself because all these people have this, like, even people who are accepting of the LGBT community, there's like that whole thing that's like, oh yeah, I accept gay people and I understand gay people. I just wish they wouldn't push it in their faces, and I hate when gay people make being gay their whole identity. And obviously that's a stupid argument, and who cares? And I think characters in shows and movies and such should absolutely be allowed to be proud and have those moments where they're like, yeah, I'm gay, I'm proud of being gay. But it's like, if you're making their whole character just that they're gay, or like just, it's like all you're doing is like pushing that ideal and making all these people who think like that it just confirms their opinion because they watch a show that has representation and all they see is that being like shoved at them with that character, and it's like,
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's just it all comes down to execution again. It's like you can have characters that are proud of being who they are, and that's absolutely fine. Like more power to you. Definitely do that. It's especially powerful when your world or whatever situation they're in. That's also it would be a good thing there because they're going against the homophobia or discrimination, whatever, what have you. Especially if your setting is in a historically homophobic time, that's especially powerful.
I also think, like, obviously this is just my opinion, but I also think that's one of the reasons why gay men specifically are, like, so fetishized in media, especially with, like, young people growing up, is because, like, they're like, I want something with representation, and they watch this show that just has, like, this character that's gay, and their whole personality is just like, I want to hook up with men, blah, 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 and I think that just, like, makes them be like, oh my god, gay men kissing each other are so hot. It's like, no,
Yeah,
we
no.
don't want to be sexualized. We just want to be people. Stop. Just treat us like people.
It's like it treat it like you would any relationship. And I mean,
Yeah.
people have personalities. Their personality isn't gay. They just happen to be gay, or they happen to be trans, or they happen.
Yeah.
It's just a side note.
Yep.
It's about as, I guess, as meaningless as their eye color or their hair. It's just part of them, and that's how it is.
Oh, okay, wait. I have one story about when I was younger. I wrote in this like couple ship on my arm, and it was like a gay couple. It was Kageyama and Hinata from
Hinata,
Haikyuu.
yeah.
And then I wrote down Kage Hina on my arm, and my dad was like, "Oh, what's that mean?" I was like, it's a ship." And I was trying to be honest, and he was like, "Oh, you he thought it was a boat." He was like, "Oh, you learning that in class or something?" I was like, yeah, I am.
We are learning
God.
about gay people. Oh, actually, seeing as you connected it to school, sex ed should have
Yes.
LGBT stuff incorporated into it because
Yes.
it fits absolutely perfectly because you're learning about your body, you're going through some changes. Identity should be part of that, and
Yeah.
I would honestly. I wish I had that during the sex ed course because that would have been really helpful, especially for people that are questioning or don't even know about it. Just being like, that's an option. Well, an option
True.
of identifying. Like, okay, you get what I mean. I don't mean like, yes, I would like this and that and this.
Yeah.
I mean like, oh yeah, no, that's yeah, okay. I see that's a thing that I'm able to identify as. I don't know if I had anything else, but it's just like don't make things too big of a deal unless, of course, well, as with all generalizations, there's always an exception. If you think
absolutely.
if you think it would work, definitely go for it. Just know what you're doing. Don't be reckless about it.
Cool. Well, I think that's just about all the time we've got, unfortunately. I'd love to hear Emma make more weird noises, but you'll have to tune in next time for
Yeah.
TCR On Air, where we'll just give you like Patreon content of Emma making her noises for like 10 minutes straight. Yeah, I don't think anyone wants that. No offense, Emma, except for maybe the Emma fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exclusive members get exclusive noises.
I'm like the number one Emma.
I actually
Yeah.
I don't like where any of this is going. Thank you so much for listening to this special episode of TCR On Air.
It's a very long
Once again, yes, this has been a long one. So thanks for sitting with us. We appreciate your support. We support you. We hope you support us. Once again, we apologize for Connor's intolerance. We're teaching him.
Yeah, he's learning.
But truly, thanks again for spending this time listening to us. And also, this Pride Month, make sure that we are. Hey, you're supporting a queer business by listening, so pat yourself on the back, but not too big of a pat. Don't get cocky, kid. You can pat yourself on the back once you give us money. That'll be really supporting us. I'm just kidding. But again, thank you, and make sure to do your research because we have some very, very important, powerful people to thank for Pride Month being a thing at all, and for us to be able to sit here talking about it is like you wouldn't have been able to do this not so long ago. So let's just make sure that we know where we're coming from and that we are embracing ourselves and having a great Pride Month. So if you're listening to this, gay rights, I love you, and yeah, that's all I had actually. Just those two things.
Play what you want.